Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Irwindale Speedway, a special night for Irwindale Speedway. It's family night, and before us, a 75-lap main event for the super late models. Tommy, a very special person on hand tonight. Not just one, but 3 generations of special guests.
Absolutely, the David Gilliland Family Feud. Taking place 75 laps of pick your part super late model racing. David Gilliland in the number 88, Todd Gilliland in the number 98, and still track record holder out here at Irwindale Speedway in the NASCAR Canyon Pro Series, Butch Gilliland in the 38.
It's bound to be a very exciting race. We're going to take you through the starting lineup. A lot of fast cars. This has been a very competitive division so far in 2014, and you mix it right in with the storyline of the Gillilands. This is going to be one to remember. Starting on the pole, they're starting straight up, no invert, is the number 80 of Jason Pattison. To Jason's outside, the number 11 machine of Ryan Partridge. Row number 2 gives us the number 4, Barry Carr, a great qualifying effort for him. And Lenny White, the number 99 machine, one of the lowest driving cars. You'll see what I mean. He was pretty much mowing the grass during practice. Row number 3 gives us the number 9 of Jack Madrid, and to his outside, the lady, the number 90 of Tony McRae, already winning one race tonight in our late model division. Row number 4, that's where we start with the number 88 of David Gilliland, returning to Irwindale Speedway after years of racing in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, and to his outside, the number 77 of Juan Garcia. And we got row number 5, the 38 of Butch Gilliland, starting right behind son David, and to outside of Butch, the youngster of them all, Todd Gilliland in the number 98.
Family Feud.
Oh man, we're gonna talk. Row number 6, the 33 of Mike Eshelman, and to his outside, the 01 of Josh Soto. Row number 7, on the inside, is the number 7, longtime racer and veteran Kenny Smith, and to his outside, starting 14th, is the number 14 of Greg Hanneman. The final row gives us the number 28 of Jeff Williams, driving a borrowed car from Robert Rice, and to the outside, the final car in the field, the number 35 of Rodney Peacher. Now, why would that be interesting?
Why would that be interesting, Jeffrey?
Yes.
How about the last 2 drivers in the last row? Lucas Oil late model competitors, they still have a main event to do tonight after this.
I'll tell you the most interesting part on my sheet. It says starting 16th is the number 74 of Kevin Furden. That's the most wacky. That's the 35 car. The 35 is the 74 of Kevin Furden, who isn't even in either of those cars.
That's pretty wacky.
That
sounds like it belongs to Low Budget TV.
Welcome, folks, to Low Budget TV. If this is your first time joining us, we're taking a special here. We don't usually broadcast the races full on our channel, but we said, you know what, it's a special night. There's a lot of people back east that are interested in this one. It's a special one for the Gillilands. So we'd like to present this one on our YouTube channel for everyone to enjoy. We do sell main event DVDs of the entire nights of action. We film both at Bakersfield Speedway, here at the Irwindale Speedway, and various other tracks.
Folks, you're in for a treat. We're going to see 75 laps, the longest running super late model race we've seen out here at Irwindale Speedway in quite some time. We've dropped the laps normally to 40 or 50 laps. Now we get to see a special 75 lap pick your part super late model race, $3,000 to win, and like we had mentioned, throughout the entire month of July and leading up to it, when the announcement came about that we are going to have a Gilliland Family Feud, and this is what is going on tonight. It's going to be exciting. Tweets going like crazy.
Yeah.
All types of social media coverage. The news has been out here. Our local ABC 7 station has been out here promoting.
Los Angeles has really been a buzz about this event.
Absolutely.
And a great packed stands right now. A lot of people coming to see it. Tommy, last night you were here to witness some of the practice sessions. A lot of storylines coming up. We'll start with the 99 of Lenny White. Had a fire on his car. What did you see?
It was an electrical fire. He was going down the front straightaway. All of a sudden the car cut off. Flames under the hood. He got it repaired this morning, and then it was the biggest news after practice. It literally happened on the final run for David Gilliland's practice session. Broken motor. They had to replace it overnight to get that 88 machine running. Lights out, Jeffrey. 75 laps of pick your part super late model action.
They're making their way through turns 3 and 4 for the beginning of 75 laps of action. Green flag is in the air. Jason Patterson leads us into turn number 1, 16 Hungary super late models and 3 Gillilands.
Patterson out to an early lead. He's on the white line. Partridge and Carr battling for second spot. 3 wide.
Jack Madrid, that number 9 machine, riding in the middle of that 3 wide with Tony McRae, who's outside. He slips up a little bit, and you see now the 77 to Garcia moving to that outside spot. Gilliland runs on the bottom.
See that 88 bottoming out. Sparks flying going into turn number 1. Still 3 wide out of turn 2.
Already see one car off the pace. It's the number 7 of Kenny Smith. He's off the pace. He's back on the pace.
He had to shift.
That number 7 machine, we should mention, is a regular road course racer. Not the driver, but the car has been running out at Willow Springs International Raceway these last couple of events. They said, hey, there's a super late model race. Kenny said, Butch is going to be in it. I want to race with Butch. They've raced in the past, and now they're racing again tonight.
Jeffrey, it's early on in this 75 lap race. Lap 4 on the board now, but I gotta give major props to second place Barry Carr in the number 4 machine. This is his best run to date. Right now in the Super Late models, running Rip Michaels, last year's championship running machine. They figured out that 4 car and battling Ryan Partridge for second.
And very much so. We mentioned there was no invert. That means he qualified. He earned that starting spot way up front. He is battling it out with Partridge. Tommy, I want to go back to the 88 of Gilliland. We talked a little bit about how he's been bottoming out. We noticed earlier today that car was incredibly bottoming out, especially through turns 3 and 4. And that car, it looks like they got it better, especially qualifying. I believe was the fastest that car had gone all weekend. But that thing is still slamming that ground. Obviously going to affect the handling of that machine. Lap 7 on the board of 75. Patterson continues the lead with Partridge holding strongly on the second. Then it's Carr and McRae who are battling out for third. They gonna get single file. Lenny White in 5th. And here comes Gilliland just behind them to the outside of Jack Madrid.
It's the best battle on track. And they're tight in turns 1 and 2.
Very tight. Madrid has won a race here earlier this year in this division.
Ooh, it's tight.
Hey, you know, these drivers, they could be racing against who knows who. They just see a race car they need to get around. Gilliland now working to the inside of Garcia. You want to talk about someone who's used to long races? I think Gilliland might have a foot up on some people.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's just 500 miles. What's the difference? Some lap traffic for our leaders. The 35 is our mystery car, labeled as the 74 of Kevin Furden. The funny thing about that is Kevin Furden debuted in the late model race in his dad's car, the number 14, which is why I'm suspecting that is Peacher and that Furden's car did not make it out here for the start of the race.
No, I was talking to Rodney Peacher in the autograph session at 5:45, normally out here at Irwindale Speedway. All the cars, all the teams, all the drivers on the front straightaway.
All the candy.
And yes, they bring buckets and gallons and pallets of candy to give every dentist a great Monday morning. And yeah, Rodney Peacher said he's in it for as many laps as he can, which he just pulled off, running both late model races and the Biggie Park Super Late model race.
Greg Hanneman, the number 14 machine, just goes down a lap. Also, the 28 of Jeff Williams has recently gone a lap down. You notice Williams is running the inside. Hanneman trying to get out of the way in that 14 car. He's actually in the middle kind of everyone's groove right now.
He's kind of stuck to the outside out here at Irwindale Speedway. Lap driver chooses his groove, but he has to stay there. That's what makes it official. The lap car cannot just wander inside groove, outside groove. He has to pick a line and stay there when the leaders come by.
A tight 3 car Gilliland. David Gilliland to the inside of his number 88 machine. The 77 to Garcia's in the middle. And that number 4, Barry Carr, to the outside. I also want to mention that behind this battle, they've been side by side from the start of the race. The 98 and the 38. Todd and Butch Gilliland.
These two don't really get to see each other much. Grandpa Butch is always traveling out of state, living out of state, working out of the United States. And Todd Gilliland, starting his racing career, they don't get to see each other much, but how special that they get to race each other right now on track at LA's half-mile super speedway, Irwindale Speedway.
Now Todd Gilliland, as I think we should jump back up to watch David, he is actually motoring his way through the field right now. Just got past Garcia, now working on Carr as they go around the lap machine of Kenny Smith. I want to mention what Todd Gilliland said during autograph session. I asked him, I said, what is your goal? What do you want to accomplish today? He said, all I care about is beating Dad. He pointed over at David. He's like, that's the guy I want to be in front of at the end of this race. I asked him, if you're coming out of turn 4, you're looking at the checkered flag, your dad is side by side with you, what's going to be the outcome? He looks at me and he says, I'm going to wreck him.
Well, that'll be interesting. I wonder how that's going to go. I bet you if that happens, Todd's going to get a lot of chores around the house.
I think that'd be a safe bet. David Gilliland now up to the 5th position. Lap number 20, 55 laps to go. Pattison with about a 10-car length lead over Partridge. McCrae sitting in 2nd. Lenny White, and again, David Gilliland now up to the top 5. Best battle up front is going to be the 147th, Barry Carr and Jack Madrid.
Oh, it was tight going into turn number 1.
It's been tight between these two.
The car, Barry Carr, is driving. That sounded funny when I said it. The number 4 machine, last year's Pick Your Part Super Late Model Championship running car. Piloted by Rip Michaels, the king of Irwindale Speedway, the most winningest driver out here at Irwindale Speedway.
And you mentioned Rip Michaels. He happens to be a crew member on whose car?
Number 90, Tony McCrae,
Who's currently sitting in the 3rd position.
she's already won, like you said, Jeffrey, the first Lucas Oil late model main event of the evening.
Oh, contact between Madrid and Carr.
A little bit of a donut on the left side quarter panel for the number 4 machine. All is well. We're going to look to see if there's any tire rub for the number 9. Doesn't look to be so. And they continue on short track racing style.
While this battle continues, David Gilliland has moved into the 4th position over Lenny White. That 88 machine has come to life despite all the issues with the motor change, the practice sessions. It's all starting to come together for David. He is on a mission right now. 50 laps to go.
Battle brewing up in front of David Gilliland. Battle for 2nd spot. McCrae. Oh, we've got a crash in turn number 4.
Oh, in trouble right in front of your leaders.
Woo! And I think Partridge might have touched, and I mean tickled the wall, trying to avoid the number 01 of Josh Soto.
Those two drivers, you saw Soto and Eshelman get together. Those two drivers have been racing really hard near each other. Obviously, they were on the lead lap. Now, what was interesting there is obviously when you're a spotter, Tommy, you're talking to the 01 of Soto. You have to tell him, hold the brakes, because he probably didn't see.
Figure 8 racing.
Okay, as I'm giving all the spotters credit, right? But I was going to say, if he lit off the brakes at any moment during that, David Gilliland was coming on that inside. There would have been nowhere for him to go.
Absolutely.
So that was a very tense moment for a couple drivers, including 2nd place, Ryan Partridge. Caution lap 25. Again, there are 50 laps to go, and this just makes it that much more interesting. They are looking underneath the number 4 machine of Barry Carr. Tommy, what do you think they're looking for?
They looked under the car maybe to see if there was a fluid He was leaking some fluid out of the number 4. Maybe some reports from the drivers behind. The officials check. They look in the ground. Let him go. Must be an all clear.
Getting ready for the restart, lap 25. Jason Patterson has been on it, but keeping an eye on the 88 of David Gilliland, who's worked his way up through the pack, and now on the outside of Tony McRae.
Side by side for the lead out of turn number 2. Jeffrey, Ryan Partridge looking to the high side.
And side by side for third, Gilliland and McRae. Side by side throughout just about the entire pack right now. And that's the beauty of this racetrack. You have multiple grooves, Tommy. You're able to run like this. Look how low Patterson goes. Look how high Partridge runs. And Gilliland is going to move into the third spot. And we almost wrecked Soto again out of turn 2.
3 wide racing from third on back.
McRae still trying to put on pressure to David Gilliland in the number 88 machine. That red car up front. McRae trying to also hold off Garcia and Lenny White. White in the 99. We mentioned the fire that he had to deal with last night.
Still leading away. Putting some car lanes between him and second place Partridge.
That number 80 machine's looking very tough to beat early on in this race, Tommy. But it's been interesting because we've seen cases this year where a driver has a run like Patterson and something happens.
Battle for second brewing up, Jeffrey. David Gilliland on the charge. He's looking to the inside of Ryan Partridge.
He is there. Yellow flag, and it is Soto again over in turns 3 and 4. As far as I know, we don't have a spin rule here.
He has some left side, left quarter panel damage from the first spin into the wall. I'm not sure if he collected the wall this time but I think the biggest issue for that number 101 Pick Your Part Super Late model is the fact the aerodynamic issue he has is his roof number. Look at that thing peeling back, and you know that's the crew chief. They can't really. No, I'm kidding.
No, that's a great point. In fact, that probably threw off all the handling.
I mean, you've seen it 2 spins.
Yeah.
In the past 5 laps.
That's unfortunate. That's probably. I mean, what do you think? They might have to scrap that car at the end of this race.
They might as well cut it up. Because
there's you can't fix that.
Especially the duct tape too. I mean, that duct tape is really expensive nowadays. You thought gas was expensive? No, duct tape is extremely expensive, and it's not like you can go to Pick Your Part and find any off of other Super Late models in the junkyard either.
Lap 30 restart with Patterson and Partridge. Green flag in the air. We'll see now how this plays out for Gilliland now that he's on the inside. Right to the outside, he kind of runs up just a little bit. Now trying to get a nose to the inside of Partridge. Patterson clears for the lead. And we're right back to racing.
Look at how many cars on screen. The top 10 all on screen right now. This is Irwindale Speedway Super Late model action.
Way sideways was the 77 to Garcia. Right in the middle, side by side for second. Gilliland, in the wall goes Garcia.
Climbing the wall.
Oh, Gilliland gets turned. Down the front straightaway, David Gilliland wrecked.
And that looks to be the end of David Gilliland's competitive night.
2 cars hooked going down the front straightaway. You can see the damage on the left front of the 11 of Ryan Partridge. Gilliland slipped up. 2 cars going for the same real estate. And David Gilliland sits wrecked on lap 31.
I don't see much damage, Jeffrey.
Of the
11 of Partridge?
Oh, yeah. You'll see it when he comes through turns 3 and 4.
Okay. But yep, David Gilliland, done for the night. That rear end squished up.
Now, it brings us, for anyone that's visited Irwindale Speedway in years past or has seen David Gilliland racing here, this track actually used to have an old configuration.
You see him hopping out of the car. I don't think he's going to be a happy camper, but yes, you're talking about the track exit.
Yes, that was a great example of the fix they did before this track reopened in 2013. Gilliland walking down the track just a little bit, kind of keeping an eye on the damage, seeing what happened there. And I think the most unfortunate part is just watching it happen. It looks like it was avoidable.
Done for the night, lap number 30.
And Tommy, I want to talk. The caution initially didn't even come out for that.
Nope.
The caution was going to be for Garcia, who got into the wall. I'm not sure if he had a tire going down. He was way sideways through turns 1 and 2. And it's like the car just went right on up. I don't know if he pushed it harder, something mechanically happened, maybe a tire went down. The caution was going to come out. And unfortunately, instead of for one reason, it came out for two. So like you said, it looks like one Garcia's night over, as well as David Gilliland in the number 88. But this throws one more wrench into the storyline here. Because the big thing that everyone was wondering was which Gilliland was going to finish ahead of who, right? Well, who's been driving side by side with each other this whole race?
Butch and Todd.
So it's on. It's not over yet.
You had talked to them in the autograph session, Jeffrey. And Butch, what did he have to say?
I loved it because, I mentioned to him how, I'm like, dude, Todd said he's going to wreck David to beat him if he has to, coming out of turn 4. And I said, if you're 3 wide with all of them, what happens? What's going to happen? He's like, that's not going to happen. They're not going to catch me. So talking smack, the Gillilands.
Hey, there might have been 3 Gillilands on track, but the family feud continues coming up after the lap 30 restart. All right, so you see, we just got done talking about Butch Gilliland. He is in the pit area right now. You see the crew looking to the right side of the number 38 machine, kind of inspecting it.
And it should be noted, we do not count caution laps here. So right now, Butch is not losing any time to the field.
He continues on. So you're going to see him pull back out and without a loss of position, I don't believe.
And Tommy, we were just starting to talk about this a little bit, but the old track configuration, one thing they changed when we changed management here at Irwindale was
literally the first change.
It was the thing they said, before we get cars back on track, we want to have this fixed. You see this addition of the wall where there's a bunch of dirt. A great spot for a wall camera, might I add, that had a lot of action.
Thank you very much.
That was made because we have that attenuator that's right there at track exit. And we were sending cars in there, and that would have been probably another case if a car hitting that barrier.
Yeah.
But with that new change, obviously it just pushes the cars right along the wall, keeps them out of the barrier, but also, for the most part, out of harm's way.
Absolutely, and you've seen it. Perfect example. The car just slides right past that track opening. You see the skid marks lead all the way into turn number 1. So very great change for all the competitors and the track safety.
We mentioned Butch Gilliland. He is back on track. Greg Hanneman in the number 14 machine. A couple laps down. He's also returning to the speedway. And again, we'll get this back underway. Lap 30 restart, getting ready to go back to racing. Jason Pattison in the number 80 machine, who's been in command of this race. But like we've talked about, now we still have a couple of other things to duel out. Hey, how about Partridge to the outside? Yet, although getting caught up in that event.
What a move that didn't quite work. Well, it might work for Jack Madrid in the number 9.
Not just Madrid, Partridge is still on the outside of that 80 machine. And still, you can see the way that the momentum just shoves the cars along that back straightaway. You really see the effect of the different lines they're running. Pattison will clear. Now, Tommy, you know how race fans, they can be really, what's the word I'm looking for? Passionate, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Now, if you ever see, you can see actually tire rub coming off that 11's left front now. If you zoom right in on that, you may be able to see it.
Oh yeah.
Now do you see damage?
I definitely
The
do.
entire caution, we were like, don't you see it? No, I don't see damage. The problem, I think, is the color of the car. It's a little bit harder to distinguish. But Tony McRae now looking for the position. The handling, obviously, not as good on Partridge's machine after the contact. I was going to bring up that for how many David Gilliland fans we probably have in the stands, I mean, it doesn't matter what you can tell them happened in that wreck, and I don't really know exactly what happened in that wreck. I mean, only the drivers and spotters know. But I'm just wondering how many people aren't rooting for Partridge right now. Although I don't think he's rooting for himself either. He is off the pace. It looks like a tire may be going down on Partridge's machine. The number 11 car.
Another heavy hitter looks to be down for the count. And this too was a special race for Ryan Partridge, a one-off deal for Eshelman Racing. He was out here to race against David Gilliland primarily. And both of them KO'd on lap 37.
And we talked about this during the caution, Tommy. There would be no reason why Partridge ever would have wanted that scenario to play out.
No.
No one probably hates it more than he does, that contact happened the way it did. As is Tommy McRae off the pace, it looks like. The number 90 machine. Talk about heavy hitters. Tony McRae was one of the favorites going into this event, and she looks like she's down on horsepower.
Winner of the last Pick Your Part Super Late Model race, down horsepower. You can see that machine not running right.
Just behind the Butch Gilliland, went really hard into the turn, almost getting into Todd. I'm telling you, the Gilliland race is not over.
Oh no. The family feud continues.
Right now, Todd has it over Butch. Butch dives it in. It was really fun to see also, because, you know, Butch not so much, but Todd really learning this track for the first time.
Absolutely. I talked to him on Thursday, and he has been racing this track like crazy leading up to this event. I mean, lap after lap after lap, trying to figure out this track. It's first time he ever seen the track in person. Well, I guess as far as he remembers.
Yeah, true. As a race car driver, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Now it's worth pointing out that as far as lanes and whatnot, I think today was the first time we saw Todd actually dive below. You see the white lines that are marked on the track. So trying out some new lines. He's obviously picking up this speedway. Right now trying to close in on Barry Carr. That's a battle for the 5th spot.
And very cool. As part of the setup for the Gilliland Family Feud out here, is that's what the Gillilands have been calling this event as far as their little title name. So we have to go along with it because it's very, very creative. But Speed Wong Racing, that's a team that we have not seen out here at Irwindale Speedway in years. And they're back out here at Irwindale Speedway with the Gilliland family. And it's very cool to see.
Oh, Todd way sideways out of turn 2.
Yeah, stepped it out. But it's cool to see Speed Wong, and it's neat because not only is it a reunion with the Gillilands here at Irwindale Speedway, but the entire Speed Wong racing team we haven't seen out here in a long time.
We talked a little bit about Tony McRae being off the pace. I'm not seeing what I saw earlier, though. It's like the car's back up to speed, Tommy. It's just kind of an odd... Something happened to that car for a lap or two. But it appears to be, for the most part, up to speed. Just behind her, though, this 4-car pack, including both Gillilands, Todd and Butch. Butch that time sideways through the turn.
That was the most smooth sideways driving I've ever seen in my life.
Well, it's Butch Gilliland. He holds the track record for a reason.
I mean, we've seen these cars step out sideways, and that car just went down a groove.
Yeah.
And there are 5 different degrees of banking around the corners here at Irwindale Speedway. The bottom side, below the solid white line, is flat. 6 degrees of banking above the line. 9 degrees of banking in the center of the track. 12 degrees banking in the preferred groove. But the banking you don't want to touch is that 90-degree banking, like you saw Josh Garcia do
Lenny White just a couple laps ago. May have overdrone the car just a bit. Had to check up. Just a tight 5-car battle here with McRae leading.
Yeah, this is the best battle on track right now. That's why we've been watching it.
Yeah, we have hit lap number 50, so the 2/3 mark of this race. 25 laps to go. Jason Patterson continues to lead with Jack Madrid, who I don't want to call it too soon, but I think that number 9 machine may actually be closing in a little bit on the 80 car. I know there's a straightaway there of a difference, but if another caution were to come out, we may have another race for the lead on our hands. Madrid knows how to finish the job. So does Patterson. So does McRae.
Patterson working his way through left traffic to the outside of Hanneman. Down the back straightaway he goes into turn 3. He'll be closing in on Eshelman, to which he'll go to the low side of the number 33.
Tommy, I'm looking at the 98 machine. I think I may be seeing some smoke coming out of the rear of that car. And I'm smelling something too.
I see and smell what you're talking about. The 98 smoking going into turn number 1.
Does that smell like rear end?
It sure does. The unmistakable rear end gear fluid.
I noticed Butch kind of backing off a little bit. And you can see it. It's getting a little bit progressively worse each lap. So that 98 car may be very limited on how many more laps that car is going to be running for. Unfortunate. Except Butch is just going, no, just how I expected.
Oh, yeah.
Those
but
cars,
not the way that it was planned. Or expected, I should say.
Those cars have had a lot of laps over the last few days, and most of these cars haven't seen the track in years.
Very true.
Much like the drivers. You can smell it, though. It is very, I mean, I'm sure our viewers can smell it. That's how strong it is.
Yeah, go get some rear end fluid out of your auto parts store.
Just put it next to you.
Yeah, just put it next to you. Uncap it and just put it next to you. And it's smell-o-vision here on Low Budget TV.
Lap 56, we're seeing all these developments happening. How long can a rear end last like that, Tommy? Is that a sign that it's going? Is it a sign that it couldn't?
No, it's going. It's definitely going. The fluid is boiling out of the machine, out of the breather.
Uh-oh. And I hate to say this, Tommy, but next to me is a very strange fellow.
What?
Yeah.
Who would that be?
I don't know.
There's plenty out here.
It's some guy. I don't know. I mean, look at this. What's going on at Irwindale Speedway?
Look, Nut Jr. in the house.
He's been shooting T-shirts at us all night. Oh, trouble! Soto around again in front of a couple cars. Lenny White and Barry Carr have contact. That could have been so much worse.
Unbelievable. You see cars damage his right side, right at the exhaust, but that could have been a T-bone over in turns number 3 and 4. Lenny White might have the most damage. No, it actually, he's shaking the car down, making sure the steering's in it.
When that started to happen and Soto spun out, White was coming in with a full head of steam into that turn, and there's not a lot you can do once you're committed to that turn. And he was able to get it down, but Carr obviously just nowhere to go. I am impressed that those drivers were able to sneak through that like they did. That was a close one. And with 17 laps to go, we now get to see how this battle for the lead is going to play out. Green flag in the air, lap 58. Does Jack Madrid have anything for Jason Patterson? And will Todd Gilliland's car last for the race? Look at this move by Gilliland.
McRae definitely has a motor going sour, it seems. That number 90 machine is stuck in the middle, losing time continually.
Todd Gilliland has worked his way, battling for the 4th position. Barry Carr to his inside. Lenny White in that 99 was given his spot back after the incident. And like Tommy mentioned, Tony McRae with trouble. I noticed Barry Carr looks like he has a right front tire rub, Tommy. It's been a wild one. 15 laps to go. Let's see that number 4 car. Maybe it's fender damage after the contact between him and Lenny White when they were avoiding that wreck.
Yeah, it could be the door and some of the quarter panel rubbing on the rear tire. How those two cars are still running, that could have been so much worse. Like you had mentioned, Todd Gilliland getting into the back of Lenny White, 98 versus 99.
Well, Lenny White's not aggressive, so this shouldn't be interesting at all. The joke being that Lenny White's a very aggressive driver. But how about Gilliland using the bumper? Butch Gilliland got a full view of that one, and they're side by side in front of him, Carr and White. And I still don't think this battle for the lead is done. Tight battle going down the front straightaway.
I'm zoomed out, Jeffrey, to take a look at the battle up for the lead and the battle, but this is the best one to watch. Going into turn number 3.
10 laps to go at the line for Jason Patterson. Jack Madrid in second. And if we're going to have a caution for debris, it would probably be coming from the 0-1. The rear end of that car is barely holding on right now.
I thought you were going to say he was parked in the corner again.
No, surprisingly not.
Yeah, it is. There's like one pop rivet holding on.
Oh yeah, you can see it right there.
Well, with 9 laps to go, Jeffrey, Jason Patterson has been stealing the show up front. And that number 80. Part Super Late model.
Yeah, I mean, he and Madrid, both drivers that we would expect to see racing up front. Obviously, we talked about Tony McRae and her mechanical woes, whatever they are. But I mean, impressive run for Todd Gilliland in that 98 machine. He made some aggressive moves just a couple laps ago. But the trick is, if you're going to make those type of moves, you got to move on. And he was able to get past Lenny White. White has since actually slipped from the 3rd position all the way back to 6th. So that car might just be barely holding on as well. He was, again, involved in that last wreck. Noticing Butch Gilliland putting some pressure on Carr. Butch, looking at his right rear tire, tells me he may have had some contact at some point.
You mean like that?
Yes, except, yes. Special moment, though, for the Gillilands to be able to do something like this.
Absolutely. And very special for all the local fans here at Irwindale Speedway to see this, because they have watched David Gilliland start his asphalt NASCAR racing career here at Irwindale Speedway. And now witnessing the newest generation Gilliland starting his career in short track racing and NASCAR in general.
Todd Gilliland has already won a late model race back east, so the success is following the name.
Top 2 on screen. Madrid losing time lap after lap to the number 80 of Jason Patterson.
2 laps to go. Including one coming out of turn 4 between McRae and Mike Eshelman.
Which I don't even know if that's a battle.
It is.
Is it? Okay.
White flag in the air for Jason Patterson, that number 80 machine. Tommy, what a wild super late model race this one has been.
Well, quite a bit of yellows, more than we're used to seeing. A 75-lap super late model race, the longest we've seen in a while.
Out of turn number 4, it's going to be the number 80 machine of Jason Patterson winning on July 19th, family night at Irwindale Speedway. Second place, Jack Madrid. Third place, getting on the podium, the 98 of Todd Gilliland. He wanted one thing tonight, and that was to beat Dad. Unfortunately, not under the circumstances he probably really wanted to beat him.
Grandpa's going home unsatisfied, which might be good for us.
He might come back.
He might come back.
No, yeah,
What a special night, Jeffrey.
It was a special night. It had its twists. It had its turns. It had Josh Soto in turns 3 and 4
Which
couple
was a
times.
twist and turn in himself.
Yes, it was. But I mean, really, overall, that's the kind of that's short track racing. What we saw right before us. And for anyone again that hasn't seen our videos, Low Budget TV, we hope we've grabbed your interest enough. We do dirt tracks. We do asphalt tracks. And we have a ton of recaps that go up every week. And Tommy, I know doing events like this is always kind of special. And uploading this one for everyone to see, because it was a special event, we wanted to allow everyone to see it, those that don't have the opportunities to make it out to the track.
Thank you for watching, everybody. Hit the subscribe button. Please do. Leave us a comment. And by all means...
Oh, you can like us on Facebook, too.
Low Budget TV. LBTV Productions on Facebook. And by all means, do whatever you can. Every Saturday night, go to your local short track and support this type of racing, because this is where stars are born, and you see the most exciting short track racing at your home track.